Oh my God, the tantrums are so bad right now. Like, I'm sorry to cry. I'm just so overwhelmed with him. He's such a good boy, and it's like he has this, for lack of better words, like a Sour Patch Kid thing. Like, he does something so sweet, and then moments later, he's just punching himself in the head and frustrated. Went into a full tantrum, which he did daily, hourly, weekly, just all the time. And he headbutted me and actually gave me a black eye. I have a photo of it. I'll be happy to share it with you guys. We went on vacation right afterwards, so that was really interesting to have a black eye that whole time. I was miserable. I was at the lowest point of misery I think I had ever been in.
It really breaks my heart because I remember what it felt like to be in this situation. So before we get into the conversations that we had over the following months, I want you to listen to and take a look at him now.
From the end of 2021 to now, we are different people, completely. And my son can go anywhere with us. We've been on vacation this year without having to, implement special things. He's a pleasant, happy little boy. Now he is about to be 5 on Monday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Aunt Shannon. Happy birthday to you.
He starts school on the 14th, and I feel happy with where he's at. His teachers are very encouraged that he will end up in the general education room instead of the special needs program. We didn't have to seek a formal diagnosis at this point. His pediatrician said, he may have ADHD, which my husband and I just laughed at each other and almost cried in the appointment because we were like, no, you have no idea what we've been through.
For this podcast, I felt like inviting you into a private conversation I had with Ashley, whom you might have met in my podcast. She shared the incredible changes that she saw in her child when she went through the turnaround process. But what most people did not see or hear was what happened behind the scenes. During the time where she was in despair, her child had severe picky eating, throwing tantrums, throwing plates, didn't want to eat anything, lost weight because he refused to eat, and she felt like the harder she pushed, the worse it got. So how did she get from that very dark place to where she's at now? And what kinds of conversations did we have behind the scenes? So I'm sharing with you some of the work that I did with Ashley. Some of the things that I do is that I do have personal conversations with my members, my mentees. And I want to share with you what that looks like when you go from the darkest place to a full turnaround. And it took her under a year to get to where she's at now. And I wanted to show you the behind the scenes and the audios. So sharing the audios with you in this podcast episode from the beginning to the end. And then I'll also link to the full podcast of her transformation in the description for this podcast. Barefoot Autism Warriors /podcasts with an S/151 for this episode. If you want to see the pictures and if you want the description and the link for the full podcast episode where I interviewed Ashley after this turnaround. So this is behind the scene from the coaching that we did to get her to that point.
I want to begin this behind the scenes by taking a look at the tantrums that Ashley is describing in our coaching sessions. And I want you to experience how extreme it was. Take a look at this while you're listening to what it felt like and what she's saying when she's going through this.
Oh my God, the tantrums are so bad right now. Like, I'm sorry to cry. I'm just so overwhelmed with him. He's such a good boy, and It's like he has this, for lack of better words, like a Sour Patch Kid thing. Like, he does something so sweet, and then moments later, he's just punching himself in the head and frustrated.
It really breaks my heart because I remember what it felt like to be in this situation. So before we get into the conversations that we had over the following months, I want you to listen to and take a look at him now, her son now.
It's really interesting how I came across Ninka. I actually was in probably the worst part of autism that we had experienced up to that point. It was right at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, I believe. I had just taken my son to my mom's house, and I was sitting in the floor, and I was trying to talk to her, and he went into a full tantrum, which he did daily, hourly, weekly, just all the time. And he headbutted me and actually gave me a black eye. I have a photo of it. I'll be happy to share it with you guys. We went on vacation right afterwards, so that was really interesting to have a black eye that whole time. I was miserable. I was at the lowest point of misery I think I had ever been in, and I had, like you, done everything I could to try to fix him. And it was my mom who told me, you know, you've got to put this in God's hands. He was created just like you were, with purpose, and there's a plan for this. But trying to fix him with, you know, every doctor and every solution, I personally did the NIM-check protocol, which I saw some change, but not lasting. It was more, I guess, anecdotal for me to do it. So one night I was on Instagram, and it was either Instagram or Facebook, and I just punched in natural cures for autism. And the first beautiful face that I saw was Ninka's. And after that, I went down a rabbit hole and read everything about her son. And I prayed. I went and got in my closet. It was probably, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, because I didn't sleep then. I had zero self-care or integrity. And I went and got in the closet, and I just prayed and prayed and prayed. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to buy the course. And I did. And I'd like to say that immediately I saw changes, but I didn't, because I didn't do the work. I bought the mindset course, and I dabbled in it. I started out strong, but I'm such a cortisol type, or was. I'm a healing cortisol type, I like to say. I dabbled in it afterwards, after going really strong in it. And my son's symptoms ramped up. They ramped up to an extreme. And I believe it was in 2021 that I just had a almost full capacity mental breakdown, and sent Ninka a bunch of voice messages of me just sobbing. My son was just to the point of no return. And that's when I was like, okay, I have to dig in. I have to do this. And I changed literally everything in my life. It was the shift that Christ had been calling me to. I personally believe in my own faith. Got rid of gluten and dairy completely, which we had at that point, but my husband and, we would have it out to eat or whatever. And we just completely clipped it out of our lives, along with going to bed earlier, cut out electronics for the most part. Lots of different things. I could list them and go on and on and on, but it was the change that I needed. And to this day, my son he'll be going into preschool this year. We tried out half a year last year because we were, in the throes of him healing, and he was just able to actually go to school and be around other kids and not scream and not tantrum and not hit or bite or whatever, and just to be able to be in the same room. And by the end of the school year, which was in May, the teachers actually sent me a note and were like, this is a changed child. We don't know what you've done from January until now. But that was even just a small snippet of the changes we have been making. And it started with healing myself. I had to live in integrity, and it started with creating momentum in the course. And it's not, this beautiful narrative of what I did. I got up every morning between 4 and 4:30 because that was literally the only time that I had to myself. And I delved in and I gave everything I had, listened to podcasts, did the coursework, did it all. And I tried to commit, as much as an hour every day. Some days it didn't work out. I committed to doing the journal. I hated it, actually. And Ninka has plenty of messages from me about that journal. But it turned out to be one of the best things that I could have ever done for myself and my son. Because from the end of 2021 to now, we are different people, completely. And my son can go anywhere with us. We've been on vacation this year without having to, implement special things. We pack his food. My family is very involved now. They understand. And to get my family on board, I almost had to explain it to them. So my brother has a severe allergy to tree nuts. And I said, Declan has a severe allergy to gluten and dairy. So, that has helped people see the severity of what changes needed to be made. And he's a pleasant, happy little boy. Now, he is about to be 5 on Monday, and he still acts like a little kid. I mean, he has a lot of maturity to catch up on. I mean, he had almost 2 full years of darkness that we lost, to the screaming and tantrums and just dark side of autism. So maturity-wise, he may not be where his peers are, but I have no doubt in my heart or mind that he won't get there. He starts school on the 14th, and I feel happy with where he's at. His teachers are very encouraged that he will end up in the general education room instead of the special needs program. We didn't have to seek a formal diagnosis at this point. His pediatrician said, he may have ADHD, which my husband and I just laughed at each other and almost cried in the appointment because we were like, no, you have no idea what we've been through. We literally went to hell and back. And I believe that, me personally, we have to go there sometimes. You have to hit the bottom so that when you do reach the mountaintop, you can give God the glory and you can say, you've brought me here and this was the journey I needed. So that's a little bit about our story. I can share that picture of the infamous black eye because it was, that was kind of the eye opener, literally. And I can laugh now, but it was horrendous. I mean, I was in a really bad place. And if it weren't for Ninka and this tribe and the changes that this course gave me and the tools that I have now, I don't know what I would do. And we're still on our journey. I will be here with you along the way. I intend to be part of this tribe for the rest of my life because this is what my purpose is right now, to help my son and to help you, Mom. So anyways, I'm here for you. If you ever want to reach out and chat, I would love to chat with you and give you some encouragement and some love because that's what I needed. And you mamas need it too. And I still need it. And Ninka is there for me. And so are my other sisters. So I'm praying that God heals you. And I'm praying that this tribe is where you feel comfort and love. So talk to you soon.
I had my doubts in the beginning of my mentoring process with Ashley. I had my doubts when it came to actually believing she would get there because she was struggling so hard. So what was it that we did? What was it that she did that made her transformation so quick, so actually incredible, and so substantial? And I can tell you exactly what that was. She was massively challenged. She didn't understand when I gave her things to do, exercises to implement, and when I told her why she was struggling. But she decided very early on that she was going to do it even though she didn't understand why these things were happening and why I gave her these exercises to do. And why nothing made sense. She decided to lean in faith, and she decided to trust me and trust God for the process. That is exactly what is needed. I can tell you that the moms who have that capability to lean in faith, even though they don't understand the turnaround process in the beginning, those are the moms who will change the quickest. I always tell moms, if you focus on you instead of the symptoms for at least give me 2 months, give me 3 months, and let me show you how quickly that can change the things that's going on in your child. When you only focus on you, and when you lean in faith, and you trust me and trust the process, when you change, things change. And that's when I'm mentoring people, it's like having me on your phone, and you can send me messages when things are difficult. And what I do is I don't tell you what to do. I tell you how to get to that place where you know what to do for every symptom, for every regression, for every plateau, and for every challenge you're experiencing in the autism turnaround process, and in the dark phases of autism where the symptoms and the tantrums and the picky eating is just destroying you. That's how we got there.
Hey, Ninka, I listened to your message on Simplero, and it all makes sense. Every bit of it makes so much sense in my head. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why the harder I push and the more I try to do this right, I just detach from myself, the more I go through it. I don't know why it's not resonating with me. I don't know if this is like my body and my mind's way of trying to protect myself or to stay in the dysfunctional familiar. I'm pretty sure, because that makes sense. But the more I try to relax and the more I try to just ease up, it's like the more my stress builds and the more chaos is in my home. My little one is just, oh my God, the tantrums are so bad right now. Like, I'm sorry to cry. I'm just so overwhelmed with him. He's such a good boy, and it's like he has this, for lack of better words, like a Sour Patch Kid thing. Like, he does something so sweet, and then moments later, he's just punching himself in the head and frustrated. And I recognize it because, quite honestly, I feel like that's me just beating myself up silently, and he's just outwardly expressing it. And I completely threw away all the junk. I got rid of the shit that was in my house, and I did that about 2 weeks ago. And my older son, I'm like, he's grown almost a half an inch. He's filling out. He doesn't have dark circles under his eyes, but my son Declan, who I'm in the tribe for, he just refuses everything. And when I say he refuses it, it's throwing the plates off the table, just utter chaos. And I knew it would be hard. I didn't come into this lightly, and obviously this is not the road less traveled. I knew it would be the narrow way and that it would be difficult, but I am immersed in it right now. And I don't know, I guess right now I'm just looking like, when you went through this with your son and you got rid of all the junk crap food and you started to offer him the new options, how long did this craziness last? Or did you go through the craziness? Did he scream for 20 minutes or more? And just, I feel like I'm constantly in fight or flight around him, because if I don't offer him what he wants, he flips out. And for the last 2 weeks, I've said, I'm done with that. I'm done with the shit. If I want him to change and we want to change, we've got to be done with these crappy foods. And I'm eating healthier. My husband he's always been a healthy eater. He really is into fitness and things like that. So he's always been on board, but I'm not cheating. I'm not eating shit. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And it's just, I'm still being met with horrible opposition from my little one. And he has his select things that he'll eat. And I've had to resort to giving him the organic fruit pouches with veggies in them just because he's losing weight. He lost almost 1.5 pounds over the course of the last 2 weeks, which, I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but it started to scare me a bit. So I don't know why I'm taking it on as trauma. It doesn't have to be this way, I know, but for me, we've lived the last 2 years gluten and dairy free and ate every garbage snack you can eat to stay that way. And I kept my head tucked in and was like, we're at least eating gluten and dairy free, but didn't ever offer my children a vegetable or meat or anything that had any substance to it. And I'm just sick of that. I don't want to live that way anymore. I don't want to stay in this dysfunctional familiar. I want so badly to see healing and to see myself get better. And I don't know. I don't even really have much sense to this message other than I'm here and I'm trying. And I thought the harder that I pushed and the harder I worked, because in my mind, everything I've ever done, if I work hard and put my head down and put my nose down to the grind, it turns out right. And this is the total opposite of that. The harder I push, the worse it gets and the worse I feel. So I kind of don't know what the next steps are. I'm not anywhere where I want to give up. I don't know what the next step is. I've got a lot of praying to do, a lot of soul searching to do today, because I'm not going to give up on these healthy meals. At the very least, I have to continue to give variety and I have to do what's right for them. I can't face my Lord and Savior one day and not have done what I was supposed to do with my son. I can't. So I know that now. And I was convicted over it I guess it's been about 2.5 weeks ago when I was making the grocery list that I completely emptied the cart and put all the shit back and just went around and got that, like, only healthy foods. And I've been looking at multiple websites and learning how to make breads and different items, hidden vegetables in muffins, because I offer also the cooked version, but usually that's refused, but he'll eat it through, like, if it's in a little muffin form, maybe a bite. And I don't know. It's a lot. The tantrums are a lot. And maybe just any encouragement that you have, or obviously your path is going to be totally different than mine, but what it was like for you when you had Bertram go through the complete clean out. I remember you telling us about that on podcasts and in the beginning of several of the videos. And I just would love to hear maybe some encouragement from a mom who's been through this. And did you go and cry? And was it hard for you? And did you ever feel defeated, even though you know you're doing what's right? But anyways, thank you for your feedback. I'm sorry to ramble on. I'm here and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. So I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, my dear Ashley. I want to just give you a massive hug and say, yes, my love, this is so normal. This is part of it. And actually, it's encouraged that we do need to get to that place of complete and utter meltdown, breakdown, feeling that we can't do anymore, being brought to our knees in order to actually be willing to release all this expectation, all this pressure, all these critical thoughts that we have, and all this harshness that we've been exposing ourselves to. When we release the prayer calls about financial freedom, I want you to listen in on those, because they also have to do with management of our intelligence, our health, our body, our thoughts, the gift of autism. And I also want you to listen to the Dark Valley prayer calls again, if you can, just when you feel like you can sit down and do that, and enjoy some time for yourself. We constantly go down into those pits and dark moments and dark valleys, and they are needed. They are not accidental. They are character building, and they are portals for more change. So I feel that it would be such a relief for you to allow yourself to gain weight, to allow your body to feel safe, to allow yourself to eat whatever that body needs without control, from real food sources and without limitation and restriction. And also allow yourself to let go of the focus on your child for a while, because the more you focus on symptoms and the more you focus on your child, the less change you will see, because he's there to wake us up. He's there to teach us where we have blind spots. He's there to teach us to not treat ourselves in a shitty way. So I've been sending out an email with the replay today. I think you might just receive it tomorrow though. And I can tell you that the moms who focus less on children and only and mainly on own healing and health get there faster. With that said, I still do agree with you that it's a good idea that you've gone through phase 5. But as you can imagine, and as you can already feel probably, it's really hard to take in information until your brain has been hardwired and freed up space in the working memory via the brain primers, and until you really truly walk with God and have him on your side, so that you can feel more peace and kindness toward yourself. It's really hard to take in that information, especially the complicated stuff in phase 5, and implement it. So I do believe that you will gain a lot from being part of the mastermind. It's such a small group. It's so intimate, and it's so basically in direct contact with me. And if you like this type of one-to-one coaching, that's in the mastermind. That's where I'm offering that only. And I believe that you're ready for it. You're just being so hard on yourself. And your body needs nourishment, it needs healing, it needs your patience, it needs food, and it needs rest, and it also needs a break from being a therapist and a full-time carer. So I'm not sure if you have the resources for it, but Dr. Barenzi is going to open up a smaller group for those who want to work in a small setting with her, doing tests and stuff for their children. But I don't know if your child is bad enough for you to do that, or if this is mainly something that has to do with you needing to come back to you. Do you know what I mean? But this will be her last group coaching session, VIP group coaching session, and for a small group here in October, and then from then on she'll only do courses and evergreen stuff. So if you want a therapist to help you overcome those things, this might be your chance. I just want to warn you, because she's really expensive. Anyway, let me hear what you think.
Hey, Ninka, I wanted to reach out. I've just got a question on how to set realistic expectations. I'm having a hard time this morning after I've done my journaling, and I don't know, I just feel like I'm setting myself up for failure with my own expectations of this journey, of my son's healing, of my own healing. How did you manage that? How did you set realistic expectations to where you weren't constantly, I guess, feeling like you weren't doing enough? I do as much as I physically can every day, but then I lay in bed and I'm like, well, I could have done this or I could have done that. And it kind of haunts me. And I've prayed about it. I've done the meditations. And I don't know how to get rid of this maybe perfectionistic mentality, or what my expectations are. Any guidance you could provide would be great. I'm finishing up the mindset course. I finished it today. I did my last reflection guide this morning, finished up on questions, and we'll start module 1 tomorrow when I'm able to. But anything that you could help me with as far as maybe seeing what I'm not seeing. Like, why am I setting myself up for failure as far as expectations go? I feel like we take one step forward, and I'm trying not to focus on the symptoms, but these random symptoms with my son keep coming out of nowhere. Like, I sent you the message where he's hitting himself in the head, and I know that he's expressing some aggression and anger, I guess, that I have inside, but it's starting to where now he's hitting his brother, and we don't model that behavior in our home, and he's not really around other children to see that. And I'm trying not to focus too much on the symptoms, but I can see he has some aggression that he's reflecting of mine. So I need to get past this in my own head of where to expect me to be, where to expect him to be. And everybody has their own journey. I understand that, but I feel like I'm setting the bar so high that any little misstep or any little regression, it's almost defeating. And I wake up with just like, oh man, this isn't going the way I expected. Anyways, any input that you might have, I would surely appreciate it, because even through my journaling and going back and reading through the reflection guides, I can tell in my questions I've come so far, and I'm starting to get the icky stuff out and starting to really write about the things that I've buried deep for years. But just wanting to set some realistic expectations, and how you maybe did this in your journey to where you weren't constantly like beating yourself up or setting the bar so high that you're like, man, I messed up again, or, this is hopeless. I don't want to get stuck in that broken record. And it may be a self-sabotage mechanism. I don't know, but maybe you could see it. I'm going to upload my reflection journals when I'm able, possibly today or tomorrow, and I'll send those over. But anyways, anything that maybe you've caught in this conversation or any advice that you could give would be so great. So much love to you.
First, I just want to say that I think the benefit for me was I had no expectations at all. I didn't even think that you could recover autism. So I did some radical things, and I'm an extremist, just like I think you are. And I kept those up, and it was just like every time something went right, I felt so much gratitude and so much motivation to carry on. Being harsh on yourself, it's interesting to figure out where is that voice from and whose harshness are you practicing? Where did you learn it? And just know that when you are harsh towards yourself, that you are a harsh parent towards yourself and your inner child. We can think that we're not harsh parents to our children, but we definitely are. So it can help to just check in with that and your values and your character, because we are being tested by our character when we are in the dark tunnel. I really want you to join the next prayer call, because it's going to be covering that as well. And then I want you to find a picture of yourself where you are a tiny girl, where you are super cute and innocent. And I want you to hang that picture or carry it with you. Either hang pictures or carry it with you. And every time you feel, you could have done better, I want you to look at that girl and say it to her and notice how it feels, because that's what's happening. You're parenting that inner child. She's listening, and she's grieving, and she's crumbling, and she's shaking because of this extremely tough and cold approach. So that's one thing. And then it's so interesting, because I just wrote a newsletter about regression today, and I wrote almost an identical answer to another woman in the group. And I just want to send it to you as well. And I hope that it will help you. I'm going on vacation next week, so I won't be in the Telegram group either for at least 2 weeks. So I just want to send it to you here, love.
Hey, Ninka, the call was great today. I actually got a lot of information. I believe it was Ramona that you were talking to, maybe not Ramona. I can't recall right off my top of my head, but just about saying less. And I felt like that applied to me so much, just to kind of sit back and just do the things day to day, not put so much pressure on myself. I'm actually having a little problem with Simplero. I've got some information in with their tech service because for some reason I can't open any of my files or anything. I don't think it has anything to do with you guys or Deanne. I can't get into my personal login. So they said they would get back in touch with me. Hopefully I'll have that information tomorrow. If I don't, I'll reach out and let you know. I've struggled with Simplero since I downloaded the app and on my computer. So I don't know. It's probably me, honestly, on the technical difficulty side, but the call was great. When I'm able to actually look at the information and can look at the sheets, I definitely will, probably have a better understanding. As far as the journaling goes, I'm a terrible person that journals. Like I've never been consistent with journaling because I feel like I'm just such a spaz all the time. And trying to do the, 50 questions a day, that does seem to add a lot of stress right now. So I might do, like you said, and just try to get my bearings straight and then add that. And hopefully that will help. So, in the meantime, I'm going to work on getting into Simplero and just trying to figure out what in the world is going on and see if I can figure out these sheets and then start with the new journal and then go from there. I don't know. I felt like I was missing so much information, and I actually was because I haven't been able to log into anything. So it's been nuts, but nonetheless, there are no mistakes like you said today. And I just kind of chuckled at that. So, hopefully everything will work itself out, but I'm really excited. I loved the intimacy of the call. I loved how we were able to just see each other's faces. I was able to get to know people, listen to Carol, listen to a lot of these ladies. It just makes me feel not alone and that we will be able to do this and I'll be able to do this. And I don't have to be crazy or exercise all day long. And there's hope and there's light at the end of the tunnel. So, I look forward to our call next week. So much love to you. And I just appreciate all that you've done for me and this group. So I will talk to you soon.
Hey, Ashley, I just wanted to give you a little feedback on the journals that you've submitted. And I don't want to overwhelm you. So I just want to take small steps, Ashley, and then we'll take it one step at the time, right? So that we can get you to a place where you feel more empowered and peaceful and calm and more understanding is acquired for you. Because right now it's just a bit overwhelming for you. And I understand that completely. So a couple of things that I just want you to be curious about when you look at the journals that you've submitted. And there's a frustration point when it comes to your child and the challenges and the stress around other people having opinions and the stress about time ticking and what's going to happen and what if he can't be part of the so-called system, and what about all the symptoms and the stress that it causes you. And then, so that's one side of the coin. And then there's the other side of the coin where the food that he has at home in the morning, in general, is contributing to the things that is causing him problems in the world, problems with his behavior, problems with his learning, and problems with his emotional control, problems with his physical health. So it is like accelerating and braking at the same time. So that's something that I had to understand with my own child when he only wanted to eat 2 or 3 things. And I couldn't control him at all. And the tantrums and the symptoms were about to destroy his future and our life as a family and my mental health as well. Consumed us completely. And then it was like I was detached from the fact that what I was contributing with was actually feeding that inflammation, feeding that starvation, feeding the malnutrition so that his brain couldn't develop, he couldn't detoxify, his immune system was on high alert, his methylation could not be balanced with the diet that I was giving him, and I was afraid to take that away from him. And my reasoning was this: well, that's all he wants to eat. If he doesn't get that, he's not eating. And so that is step 3. That's not where we are at right now, Ashley. Yet we're not ready to go there yet. But it requires our courage to have values, set clear boundaries, and stop supporting the things that are destroying our children, our dream, our family, and the future, such as inflammatory foods, lack of micro and macronutrients to build brains, bones, brain cells, growth, emotional development. We need to get to a point where our values and our commitment is to not ever invest in anything that doesn't contribute to healing and health, at least in the dark phases of autism. He will be more resilient and he will be able to eat other things in the future, but for now, no. And then here comes the challenge of, well, what if he doesn't eat? What about the extra conflict? I cannot take any more conflicts. And I agree that that's why I said this is step 3. Because until you have experienced on your own body what it feels like to be well nourished, what it feels like to be peaceful, what it feels like to be satiated, what it feels like to be healthy and balanced, you don't have lived experience to teach from. And when you get there, you cannot, it's not possible for you to, it sounds a bit dramatic, but it's not possible for you to do that to your child anymore, because you know from personal experience what it feels like to be unhealthy, but you also know what it feels like to be healthy. And that's when you will be ready to take his anger and hold space for it and not be flawed by it and intimidated by it and afraid and fearful. Why is that a challenge now? Well, that's a challenge for us when we are in the initial phases of awareness and maturity in this journey, where we haven't yet unscrambled and understood our own issues with anger, our trauma from childhood that had to do with emotional outbursts, maybe boundaries. So say, for example, for me, I had a really tough time dealing with my son's resistance and anger and outbursts when I took things away from him, because in my childhood home, no and boundaries were equivalent to abuse and being kicked out from home. I was kicked out from home at a very early age, and I was sexually abused, and I grew up with narcissistic parents and very immature parents household. So if we don't have a healthy relationship with boundaries, and if we don't have a healthy relationship with healthy expression of anger and other feelings, We cannot sit with our children's resentment and protest, which means they will even demonstrate and protest even more against us, and they will just go on hunger strikes for longer when we remove the foods that they shouldn't have. That is why this journey, where you need to unscramble this, you need to go through each and every step in the mindset course in phase 1 and 2, even if it takes you the whole year to do that. Diligently stick with it. Heal your stress type, heal your nervous system, slowly understand yourself better, healing your trauma, feeling the feeling of being included and picked up and surrendered and supported into this group and family that is us. We have your back. The more you show us your vulnerability, your true self, your fears, your grief and your sorrow, all the things that you don't want to share with anybody, the more we see you for who you really are, the more we will love you and feel safe around you, because we sense it anyway. And the more you feel like you have to be something that you're not in order to perform or fit in, the more complicated it is to read you. So you will see that the more you are you, and the more you relax, and the more you allow yourself to receive and give yourself compassion and care and understanding and love, the more changes you will see, and the easier it will be for you to be in this family and use it as your support system. So the journey starts with you. We need to get your food and your house right. You need to get your home in order, you need to get your house in order, you need to get your health in order, you need to get your life in order, you need to get right with God in that way, because He observes how you're stewarding your family, the temple for the Holy Spirit, which is your body, your actions, your parenting, your daily habits. And there's a lot of food that shouldn't even go in the trolley. And as long as it's going in the trolley and you are investing in it, it's allowing it into your body. It's foods from the enemy that will then call for more foods from the enemy and will lead to more destruction cellularly, immune system wise, gut health, hormonally. So the ripple milk and all the vegan alternatives, there's a lot of details in the foods that you're eating that I would like to replace, and I would like you to eat dinner for breakfast, because that's your most decent meal. I'd like you to switch that around for your child as well. And then I predict if we get there with you, come on Meg, we get there with you 6 months from now, you'll be ready to take that battle with your child and stop buying the things for him that he wants, because he's only going to want those things for as long as you buy them. And his gut needs to be educated to produce the enzymes to break down real nutrients from all the different kinds of fruits and berries and vegetables, and be able to break down real protein and real grains and real fats. And that takes time, because with a mono-feeding diet like the one that you have now in your family, you won't be producing the enzymes to break down that food, which is why the child doesn't want it, but also because of zinc deficiency in the child, the healthy food will taste bad. And lack of leadership, he feels that he can control you. He knows that you're scared. He knows that he is actually the leader of the family, and he will be using that to keep doing to keep at the addiction, because the foods that he's getting, and also a lot of the food that you're getting, is causing inflammation, it's causing hormonal imbalances, sleep issues, way too many oxalates in the food as well, too many plant-based milks and nuts and stuff, and too much of the same foods So I will also go through the list of foods and be more specific in my feedback. But for now, I just wanted this to sit with you over the weekend, so that you can ponder and use time to reflect on that. Hope it made sense. I'm very blessed to know you, very blessed to have you in the family, and I thank God for your fellowship and for the sisterhood that we have.
Hey, Ninka, thank you so much for checking on me. Today actually has been a really, really good day. We just left the final meeting for my son for his new classroom, and it just went so good. I just feel really comfortable in the entire school of students, and its classes pre-K to, I think, a 5th or 6th year. There's only 300 students in the whole school, so it's very small, very intimate. The teachers were really sweet. Everybody was kind to one another. And it was such a good feeling. I don't even know how to describe it. An answered prayer. That's what it is. That's how I can describe it. It was an answer to prayer. As far as the questions that you asked, as far as my personal health, my diet, all of that, I feel good. I feel like I'm still in the learning phase. And I mean, this may just be a learning curve forever. And as my body changes, I'll learn different things. I'm not the best cook, so I'm trying to figure out things. I definitely have gone back to a lot of the cooking videos that you've put and just how to match foods together, stuff that doesn't work well with my body. I feel like the more open that I've been to adding new foods, and I can't remember which Dr. Berenzi video it was, but it was the one where she was talking about adding like the list of 50 new foods or, 40 new foods, whatever it is. So we have started to implement that in our diets, and we offer the things to my son. He still is pretty timid about trying things. Like we had steak last night, and my husband chopped his up really fine, and he wouldn't touch it, wouldn't even pick it up off his plate. But we didn't make a big deal about it. We just put it away and then presented it again this morning. Obviously we reheated it and did all that, and he just still wouldn't touch it. So there's certain things that he still is almost timid to try. But I feel like overall he's doing well. Over Christmas, he expressed some behaviors that I think I mentioned in the last call that it made sense. I mean, he was really rigid because I was really rigid. This is the first time, I think, in my entire life that I have felt like myself in my own skin. Like I'm actually living my purpose, that I'm doing what God wants me to do. And I have peace. I have peace in my heart. I don't know, it's been such a beautiful transition. I've never been this hopeful about anything, honestly. I was a bit of a pessimist, always tried to make a joke about stuff, laugh through the pain kind of thing. But I was always miserable on the inside. But I'm okay with being different. I'm okay that our journey is not going to be perfect. I'm okay that my life is not going to be linear. I'm okay with that now. And I'm actually happy and excited about it. And this time 6 months ago, no, I wasn't. I was actually broken when I came into the mastermind tribe. And it's been so nice. Just this space to be with you ladies and to hear everybody. I mean, I'm just thinking of recent stories, but everybody has just been so vulnerable. And it gave me the opportunity to see that this is life. This is real. And people everywhere are going through hard things. And I'm not the only one. And it's been so great. And I finally found a space in this tribe to feel comfortable enough to grasp hold of the journey, to stand up on my own 2 feet and say, I'm going to do this. We are going to heal my son. I don't know what his life is going to look like. I can't guarantee anything, but I can't guarantee my own life. So why would I try to guarantee his? But I do know this. I will never stop. And I feel brave. And I just appreciate you and this tribe for giving me that. I have pictures of myself as a little girl all throughout the house now. And I look back, and it's funny, like I even was talking to my sister the other day, and I was just like, would you talk to yourself like that when you were a little girl? If you had your little girl self in front of you, would you talk to her like that? And she was like, absolutely not. And it was just so neat that I learned that. And that's something that I do now, is I consider myself. I feel like my weight loss is on track. I really haven't, to tell you the truth, I guess just because I haven't really been trying necessarily to lose weight. I had kind of a disordered eating pattern for many, many years. So I'm just happy with my body. I'm proud. I work out every day, for most days. I mean, every day my husband and I walk in the mornings, but I do enjoy lifting weights. I'm not lifting heavy weights anymore. I'm okay with 5-pound dumbbells and doing, a couple reps, but I feel strong. I feel like at 4 years old, if my son has a tantrum right now, I can help him, and I can pick him up and love him and cuddle him and feel strong and good in my body. I'm having a hard time with the visual stuff as far as accepting these new gray hairs that I've got and the extra wrinkles and a lot of that stuff, the vanity things. I guess I'm not having a hard time. That's just been a bit of a process for me, because I was always known to have beautiful blonde hair, but it was always dyed. It was never me. And now that I have brown hair, even my dad was like, is that your color hair? And I was like, yeah, it is. This is me. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see that I'm finally okay with just being me. And I appreciate you for putting the mirror in front of my face and calling me to the mat, because that's what you did, is you called me to the mat and you said, it's time. And I'm just grateful. I want to be a part of this group forever. Obviously I can't be in the mastermind forever, but I don't want to lose these relationships. You ladies have been so integral in my life, and I just feel comfortable with you all. And it's like a little piece of home, is to know that you guys are my tribe and are in my corner and I'm in yours. So I don't know how that looks for tribe members that, are moving to the next levels and are ready for self-study. But whatever it is, you just let me know. I want to be a part of it. But obviously there's still tons of work, a lot of inner child work that I've done these last couple weeks. And right here at Christmas, God obviously always has a plan, but it's been really, really cool to see just who I am and who I've always been, but to not put on a front and to just go and be who I am in front of my family. And I've gotten a couple texts from my aunt saying, I'm just so glad to see that you're happy and I love you. And that was just really, really cool, that people are starting to see that my genuine happiness and joy are starting to shine through. So anyways, that was a lot. But I just want you to know that I love you and appreciate you so very much. I'm in this. I'm doing the work. It's not perfect. And it is taken a lot for me to not be in extreme cortisol and just rush through it all. But I feel good. And I don't know, I have hope. I'm just so hopeful. And I didn't have hope. So thank you for helping me put it back together. So anyways, I'd love to chat with you anytime. I'm looking forward to the next couple calls. And I guess you just let me know what the next steps are. And I'm here and excited, and it's just really, really, really so grateful. So talk to you soon. Hey, Ninka, that sounds great. I'm up for whatever group you think that I would be best suited for. Sounds good to me. I honestly, when I said that I wanted to be part of the group, that meant I just really like the camaraderie of the moms in this community that are looking for healing, that, we come to each other with our weaknesses and we help each other and we love each other and pray for each other. That's the camaraderie that I'm looking for. I have a wonderful group of friends, obviously outside of the tribe, but this tribe understands, because a lot of the moms are going through very similar experiences with their children than I am. And I just love that. I love that I can just come raw, and it doesn't have to have an explanation behind it or an apology for anything. So that's why I love this community. So whatever group you want me to be in, whatever you think that would be beneficial for me, I am definitely open to it. I feel like I'm doing really well in the course. I don't necessarily know if I need to be in the next like full-fledged mastermind, unless you think that would be good for me. I think that I'm doing well. But again, it's up to you, and we're going to chat. I just scheduled this morning a chat time with you. So yeah, I have noticed a couple moms have fallen off, and you know, it's life, and I understand it. And I've continued to pray for them. And I guess that's really honestly what I joined the mastermind group for, aside from obviously the coaching and the training, but to hear perspectives of other moms and just to see that I am not alone, in that the isolating community that the autism community pushes of every child is perfect the way that they are. I don't like that. And they are. God created every child to be perfect, you know, but I want to help mine. I don't want him to stay in autism. So I've got the mindset of a warrior, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to help him. So I'm here for it. I'm going to continue to show up. I'm going to continue to bring the raw and hopefully not fall off the wagon. And if I do, I'm going to come right back to it and jump back on with you guys, because I'm here for the long haul. I want to see my son have the freedoms that your beautiful Bertram has. I mean, my son is 4, so we are in the beginning of this journey, and I'm a lifetimer. I'm ready, and I've already prayed over it. I know that God is going to send us our miracle. So whatever it looks like, however it needs to be, you just let me know, and whatever you've created and want me to join, I'm happy to do it. So I'm just here. I just wanted to let you know that.
I hope that was insightful for you, because sometimes we underestimate how long it takes and how desperate we are and how much support we need when we're in that dark place and when we want to turn symptoms around. And if you feel like this is for me, I actually want that kind of support, feel free to send me an email. And by sending me an email at contact@barefootautismwarriors.com and write coaching in the subject line. And I'm going to have to ask you to go and find your email and put in that email address, contact@barefootautismwarriors.com, and the subject line is coaching. Because if you don't have the energy to do that, and if you get distracted and you don't get to do that, I know that we're not the right fit. I can't work with you if that is an obstacle for you. I know that I won't be able to break through the other obstacles that you have if you don't want to take this first step. So that's like a test, the first test to see if we're the right fit. When I receive that email, I'm going to read what you write. I'm going to hear from you. What are your obstacles? Where do you want to be a year from now? And what are some of the struggles that you have? And from there, I can determine whether or not I think I can get on a call with you to see if we are the right fit. But I hope this was insightful, and thank you for listening, and thank you for being a warrior for your child.